Go.org to know what you should be doing right now to prepare for college. Start taking the steps at KnowHowToGo.org.
I know what it takes. So do you.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Women Foundation, and the Ad Council.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
The Bucks play a dangerous game when you allow a quarterback to go into a lame duck season. It doesn't typically work out for the franchise. It sets a tone for the upcoming season. If he's not all in, it's hard for the rest of the locker room to be all in and to buy into a team-first agenda.
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday morning starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. This is Freddie and Harry.
I can't wait to see this wide receiver group with Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith-Njigba in a full offseason and a full year starting out for Rashid Shaheed. So I'm going with Seattle as the second best team in the NFL right now, which is so unique about the NFC West because you can sit up here and make a gripe that the top 10 teams in the NFL, 3 of those are in the NFC West.
All year round. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. ER 1061 ESPN. Richmond. It's time to get your morning glory.
We are going to wreak havoc.
Only thing I am thinking about is the game.
Holy catfish! Touchdown, Seahawks!
Rashid Shaheed. This is The Bill with Jack Fitzpatrick. All live from the capital of the Commonwealth, where sharp analysis, your cause, and Richmond always come first. If it's making headlines locally or nationally, we're breaking it down. Live from the capital of the Commonwealth, it's The Bill with your host, Jack Fitzpatrick.
Good morning. Appreciate you clocking in, getting your day started with us right here on Fitz the Bill 1061 ESPN Richmond, the ESPN Richmond app, ESPNRichmond.com. So much to dive into on this Tuesday morning. In hour number 2, we've got our two-a-days going as we preview Cosby and J.R. Tucker here today. Two-a-days as we kick off our 804 high school football previews. Two-a-days all this week. 3 of those starting next week as we run through all 34 teams that we talked to at 804 High School Football Media Day. That's coming up each and every day at 9:30. Also in hour number 2, we've got to break down where rivalries stand in the world of college football and college sports as a whole. Because, folks, Kyle Whittingham said something really interesting at Big Ten Media Days and then kind of walked it back yesterday in a Michigan press conference. We'll dive into that at about 9:15 as well. But where I want to start on this Tuesday morning, it's something I was teasing a lot yesterday, and, just between calls and between other things we had to get to yesterday, it just didn't really fit its way into the show, but I'm going to make sure it gets fit in today because we are kicking off this Tuesday edition of Fitz the Bill with early season headlines that won't age well at all. And look, I was watching Quarterback on Netflix. I've been watching Quarterback on Netflix the last 2 nights. And the funny thing about these shows is it starts at the beginning of the season, which, of course, right, you're telling the story of the year. It's really diving deep into some of the headlines and some of the storylines that, frankly, I had forgotten all about. Like Green Bay, I've been a Green Bay supporter for a while. I forgot that, through the first month of the season last year, they were bona fide Super Bowl favorites, and everyone was all in on the Green Bay bandwagon, and Green Bay's defense was playing exceptionally well. And then as the year went on, they kind of tapered off, and they really never lived up to the expectations they set for themselves in the first month of the season. I forgot about Baker Mayfield's red-hot start. I forgot that Baker was, the favorite to win the MVP after, the first 7 weeks of the season. He tore up the Seattle Seahawks defense that went on to win the Super Bowl. He looked he was the best Baker has ever played in his entire career. And then through injuries that Tampa's offensive line suffered, that Baker suffered, his play kind of tailed off as the season went on. So I want to predict early season headlines that aren't going to age well at all. And Alan, there is an if-man headline in this because I have a feeling Justin Herbert and the Chargers, the headline is going to be they are Super Bowl favorites because the preseason hype heading into this year, it's an annual tradition, right? The preseason hype around the Chargers, whether it was the Phillip Rivers era Chargers or now it's the Justin Herbert era Chargers. Every year they've got all of this preseason hype, but now with Mike McDaniel, with Herbert, with a good receiving core, you got to expect Ladd McConkey to take a step forward in his development. Last year, he was struggling with a couple of injuries alongside Quentin Johnston. Justin Herbert and the Chargers, we're going to see an early season headline that won't age well at all because it'll say Justin Herbert and the Chargers will finally break through and win the Super Bowl this season. That's coming. That's going to be like week 4 when they're 3-1 and we are hype on the Chargers.
Yeah, I think the Chargers have the same thing as the Cowboys. The season hasn't started until, somebody makes a joke about the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. Until we hear about Justin Herbert breaking through, we haven't started the NFL season.
And here's the crazy thing on the Chargers, and this is why this headline is going to be probably loud in a big way through the first 3-4 weeks of the season. Cardinals Raiders are how the Chargers start things off. Dub, right? So you're sitting there 2-0. Let's be honest. Cardinals, Raiders, defenses aren't expected to be great this year. Herbert's going to put up like 300-plus yards, 4 touchdowns in both of those games.
Well, I think they're going to be more run-oriented than people anticipate.
Yeah, but those defenses are so bad. It's going to tear them apart.
I did see that McDaniel said they would have a running back committee, which I think would be beneficial for them because they got a guy on their team that I really liked. Not Hampton. Vidal from Troy, I believe.
Troy, yes.
Yeah. So I liked him when he was coming out. I thought he could be a sneaky second option as a back, a pace setter. He plays very physical for a guy that doesn't look that big, but he's kind of a muscle, just like a running muscle. I'm optimistic the team will be more balanced this year as long as they stay healthy. But I don't understand how you can be a Super Bowl favorite and you're not even favorite to win your division.
That's going to change. That's why it's going to change for the first 2 weeks of the season.
As a matter of fact, we can have the conversation. I think the Bo Nix Broncos hype will do more than the Justin Herbert hype.
Do you think Bo Nix are you saying that because you think Bo Nix and the Broncos will be better than the Chargers this season?
I think they're positioned better with recency bias, right? Like they had a good run last year.
Yeah.
If they start out hot, the first 2 names of teams that people are going to talk about outside of like our usual suspects would be probably the Broncos and Chargers. And I think, again, with the recency bias, the Broncos look good. They got a built-in excuse because Bo Nix got hurt. Yeah, they're returning a stud defense.
And they bring in Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, they bring in Waddle. I think that's going to be probably the louder storyline, although Justin Herbert will be at least background noise.
Well, here's the thing. We get a good showdown with them in week 5 on October 11th. And look, this is why the preseason hype around it is going to lead into Super Bowl favorite talk early on for the Chargers. Cardinals, Raiders. Then it's Bills, Seahawks, Broncos. That is a tough 3-game stretch. So what I'm saying is, if Justin Herbert can get through that somehow 2-1, right? Which I know you're shaking your head at. This is all I'm speaking in hypotheticals.
How do you look at the schedule?
This is how the headline is going to be written because if they beat the Cardinals, Raiders, and then go 2-1 over the next 3 games with the Bills, Seahawks, and Broncos, I've got to take. I'll share it later on because it's one of the headlines that I've got with it. But you're sitting there at what 4-1. And you probably are averaging 300 yards per game because those first 2 games have pushed you up a little bit. The Chargers are going to have a lot of hype around them because they are going to come out of the gates, get a couple of marquee wins, and put up some gaudy numbers in Mike McDaniel's offense.
Well, you talked about that stretch. I mean, the entire stretch after that. In fact, let's just go ahead and stand there. By Thanksgiving, we're going to know if the Chargers are real or not because
true. I will agree with that.
Because after the Cardinals, Raiders, they get the Bills, the Seahawks, the Broncos, the Chiefs, the Rams, the Texans, the Ravens. If you can get through that with a winning record, then I would assume you are definitely in contention to make a deep playoff run. But like that Bills Seahawks game, just from a gambling angle, that's a tough spot because you're traveling to the East Coast to play the Bills, come back out west to play the Seahawks, at a home field that everybody knows is as advantageous as you could possibly have. Then you get your rival Broncos on the 11th, and then you got to turn around and play your other division rival, the Chiefs. And then you get Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett and company, followed by Will Anderson and company. Like, that's going to be tough, man.
And that dovetails into my next headline that I don't think is going to age that well because through like the first month of the season, we're going to hear Rams are the best team in the NFL. This defense might be one of the greatest defenses of all time. No debate. We've already started hearing that. They are one injury away, even on the defensive side of the football, right? Like this is what happens when you're a team like the Rams, that you go all in to get Myles Garrett. As a reminder, they traded for Trent McDuffie. He was an All-Pro, 2 years ago at the cornerback position.
McDuffie's a dog, man.
You've got Garrett, McDuffie. You might be bringing back Aaron Donald. That all looks great. Tell me who their corner 2 is. Tell me who their slot corner is. Tell me who their third edge rusher is.
They don't need all that as long as they got Myles and Aaron Donald.
Yes, you're right. As long as they've got Myles,
they got him.
And then offensively, Puka Nacua is great. Who knows how he's going to hold up? Who's their second wide receiver? Devontae Adams. You see his headshot the other day? We just got the new headshots. The headshots dropped for 2026. My man is grayer than Santa. I just saying is white. Dude is old.
I didn't see a great headshot. Wow. I'm going to have to check that out.
Check out the Devontae Adams 2026 headshot. You're going to be flabbergasted by the amount of gray in this man's
It's all that Taco Bell.
It's all that stress from living with Aaron Rodgers for all those years in Green Bay. But they are an injury or 2 away from completely falling apart. I heard a stat earlier on the Bill Simmons podcast. They were talking about quarterbacks who impact the line the most. So when a quarterback is out, how much does the line swing down?
That's like my favorite thing.
At top of the list was, I forgot who the top of the list even was, but number 2 or number 3 was Matt Stafford, and he's got over a 5-point swing when he is out. So it hinges all on Matt Stafford. So that early season headline is not going to age well. You pull up his headshot? You see his headshot?
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely old.
I'm just saying. And then who's their wide receiver 3? I don't know.
I think with the Rams, there's going to be a storyline. Like you said, just because of that trade, they won the offseason.
Yes, everybody. Much like Virginia Tech, they won the offseason. Yes. How do you win on Saturdays and Sundays?
So everybody agrees with that. It'll definitely be a storyline. Plus, they've got the NFC West is. I don't even know what to call that, man. It's just a tough division.
And that's the other thing with it, too. We're already crowning the Rams. They go on 1 3-game losing streak this season.
Oh, they're going to do that. They always have those lows.
And they may miss the playoffs because of that. Because the NFC is pretty strong. The AFC might have bigger and better top teams, but I think the NFC top to bottom is a better conference.
Yeah, I think the NFC, you can make a case for probably 12 teams to get into the playoffs. I don't think you can make a legitimate case for 12 teams in the AFC.
Keep an eye on that early season headline that won't age well. Rams are the best team in the NFL. This is the best defense we have ever seen. No debate. That has the potential to age like milk. Number 3, the third headline that I think won't age well at all. Jackson Dart. He's a top 10 quarterback.
Can we just put New York Giants, man? I am so down on the Giants.
And you know what their early season slate is? Dallas, which they might be improved defensively. I don't know. They just signed Quinn Williams to
Dallas is 1,000% better than what they've been in the last several years.
But still, is that
defensively?
Defensively, yes. Does that mean they go from the worst team in the NFL on defense to the 20th best? That means they got a lot better. They got 12th. Oh, but what I'm saying is they've got Dallas. Jackson Dart has the ability to put up some gaudy numbers against a Dallas defense that we don't know if it's improved. Then you got a tough test in week 2 against the Rams. Then it's the Titans, the Cardinals, the Commanders, and the Saints. Those are, based off of last season numbers, those are some bad defenses you've got there in the first month and a half of the year. Jackson Dart has the potential to put up some gaudy numbers that won't age well.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the ability to put up some stats, but also I think Jackson Dart's DNA, man, like he's just not smart. When I say he's not smart, like he takes too many unnecessary hits. It takes
a lot of hits.
Very eerily similar to Joe Burrow when he first came in the league. His first couple seasons, it's like, dude, get down, get out of bounds, don't take that contact. Like you're not Josh Allen, Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson, and anybody else who kind of lives life on the edge as a scrambler. Like just get down. So I don't think Jackson Dart is going to have a good sophomore season. I
don't think he's going to have a good career.
I think people are going to try to force him into being a passer. I feel that he's going to open the season with Odell Beckham Jr. being the only name we recognize as wide receiver, which is not a good thing. Kent's got to be. He's a dude. He's funny. But I think his shelf life is going to be short-lived. I just think the Giants are kind of poised to be the team that gets let down because expectations are too high for a team that's being held up by sophomores, essentially. Like, their stars are sophomores. Malik Neighbors is super young himself.
He's a redshirt sophomore.
And he's not 100% healthy.
Yeah.
And so it's just going to be really, really tough for them. And they also lost one of their key defensive leaders, Dexter Lawrence. That's a huge hit, especially up front where they didn't get the production they thought they would get out of Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter came on pretty well during the last season.
He's got to be the main guy for sure.
He will be. He's going to be a defensive player.
You expect.
No, that is what's going to happen. I feel comfortable stamping.
Letdowns all across the board for the Giants is my prediction. I think, and especially with New York media, it's going to spoil in 2 weeks.
It's going to start so well, especially if they somehow pull off your win against the Rams, right? You're sitting there 2-0. You get a win against Tennessee. You're 3-0. They have the potential to beat up on some really bad teams early on in the year in Tennessee, in Arizona. And they've also got a couple of potential wins, like against Dallas and the Rams, that get their fan base reinvigorated. And then the hot takes will be flying around Jackson Dart. He's a top 10 quarterback. If I'm drafting all the quarterbacks now, the Giants fans, if they got behind Tommy DeVito, they're going to get behind Jackson Dart and say, I take Jackson Dart if I'm starting the franchise tomorrow, man.
Yeah, they said that, but my thing is,
it's going to fall apart.
If Harbaugh can't close games with Lamar Jackson, we expect him to close more games with Jackson Dart. That's going to be interesting.
It is funny, and I bring this up often, but the Giants got rid of Daboll because he could not close out games. Historically inept at closing out games. Who did they bring in? The one coach who has had more, if not just less, fourth quarter blown leads is Daboll since Daboll took over with the Giants. But you looked in the mirror, it's like that one meme of the guy entering in the classroom with the same shirt every day.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the Giants did, although they're more of an adult in the room, but still.
They got a tough, they got the reverse of what the Rams got. They've got the Commanders November 12th, Jaguars on the 22nd, and then they end the season Colts, Niners, Seahawks, Browns, Lions, Cowboys, Eagles. That's
like 4 or 5 losses.
And people think that this team could be a sleeper team. Dude, not with that schedule, man. They also have the Texans in as one of their out of division games, and the Rams as an out of division game. You're looking at off break 8 losses right there.
Good luck, New York.
And so then they would have to win in their division more games than they lose, and I just don't.
And I think they're the 4th best team in the division.
Yeah, I don't think they've got it in this year. And to me, that's not going to be a situation where I look at the team and call it a flop, because my expectations are already low. But for the purpose of the segment, people are going to be piling on them real quick.
Yes, especially if there's a real potential for that to just age horribly. Another one, Kirk Cousins has been revitalized in Las Vegas. There's going to be a new offense. He's going to get new looks. Kubiak made Sam Darnold look very good, although he also looked very good in Minnesota. And the Raiders have the potential to get off to a relatively hot start with games against Miami and New Orleans in the first 4 weeks. They've got those two. So, and I know hot start Raiders might be 2-2, but they were terrible last year. Kirk Cousins,
I expected.
And Kirk Cousins, right? This could be similar. This could be similar to how Miami started that Mike McDaniel era, where they were putting up 70 points on the Broncos, and they just kind of took the lead by storm. Something similar could happen with the Raiders through the first month and a half of the year, and Kirk Cousins is going to be lauded as being revitalized. He's found a new rhythm, because if you look at Kirk Cousins since he tore his Achilles, he has progressively gotten better as he has gotten further removed from that Achilles tear. And we've seen the historical data tells us that post-Achilles tear, it's going to take at least 2 years to get back to yourself. This is going to be, I believe, year 3 post-Achilles tear, post-surgery. So Cousins is going to be a healthier version of himself in an offense that favors what Kirk Cousins do. I think he's going to get out to a hot start, and then we're going to see the headlines. He's been revitalized in Vegas. There's something cooking down there in Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas.
You got to remember, there's going to be people who will be like, see, we didn't need to draft Mendoza.
That's going to be another headline, and then they've got to run there with the Patriots, Bills, Rams, Jets, 49ers, Seahawks, Broncos. They're going to get punched in the mouth again and again and again and again. And then they're going to have to go to Mendoza when they've got Cleveland on November 29th. They will be going to Mendoza before the calendar flips to December.
I think Cousins and Kubiak is a pretty good partnership. I can see them doing well with one another. And it's one of those situations for Kirk Cousins is probably his best gamble yet. Like, he's playing with house money. If he was good, they're obviously going to move to Mendoza within the next year.
Yeah, if he's going to get a nice contract.
Imagine what he's going to get paid after he leaves the Raiders. I almost called him Oakland. Imagine what he's going to get paid after he leaves the Raiders. And people are always asking, how does he get paid? There's bad quarterbacks in the league. Like, we got a team holding out with Jacoby Brissett. And he signed him, and they signed him. So I might still start Carson Beck. He's getting all the love in training camp. Anthony Richardson is still on the roster out here somewhere, right? Like we're going to have situations where a guy like Kirk Cousins is going to be enticing to somebody like the Steelers who probably still won't get a quarterback after Aaron Rodgers retires.
I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah, I'm serious. It's going to happen.
Kirk Cousins is going to retire a Steeler. He's going to play 2 years.
He's going to get paid somewhere.
He's going to be going exactly 500. Somehow, some way, with the 17-game schedule, he's going to find a way to go 500. They're going to go, yeah, exactly, and it's going to make me so upset. But you predicted the future, right?
Yeah, it's either going to be Kirk Cousins looks good, or why do we draft Mendoza? I agree with that.
And the last headline that is not going to age well: early on in the season, through the first 5 weeks, we are going to hear Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills window. It's closed. They missed an opportunity.
They kind of did.
Early slate is Houston, Detroit, Chargers, Patriots, Rams. Very well could be a 2-3 start, a 1-4 start. I won't go so far to say an 0-5 start because I think Buffalo is better than that. But that is a daunting early schedule for the Buffalo Bills, and it's going to give them an ugly record. And we are all going to be piling on them that they've lost this opportunity. The Josh Allen era, it's going to be a complete failure in Buffalo. Their window has closed. And then you know what they're going to do after that? They're going to rattle off a whole heck of a lot of wins. Because after the Rams game, they've got the Raiders, dub, Ravens at home. And look, Baltimore, I think Baltimore is going to be a much better team than they were last year. But there's still some questions surrounding Baltimore. Then they've got the Vikings, Jets, Dolphins, Chiefs. You know how I feel about the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs again this year. Patriots, Packers, Bears, Broncos, Dolphins again, Jets again. They get 4 games over the final 2 months of the season against AFC East opponents, and they are going to dominate the Jets and the Dolphins. They're going to start the year where we're all talking about how it's been a missed opportunity, the window's closed, and by the end of the year, we're going to be talking about how the Buffalo Bills are a sneaky dark horse to win the Super Bowl because, man, have they gotten red hot since the middle of October. That's exactly how this is going to happen.
I'm going to respectfully disagree. I think they start the season out 3-1.
Really?
And I only say that because they got 3 home games and they're really good at home.
And a new home stadium, completely new feel.
They got the tiny screen, man. You see the tiny screen?
We're talking about that new and the obstructed view.
Yeah, so all that is going to play into their favor, obviously. The away fans are going to be too distracted. They can't see what's going on the field, and it's going to work in their favor. No, I'm looking at this team like, yeah, all right, Joe Brady is a new head coach. But brother, Josh Allen is a former MVP. Yes, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Yes. I'm not giving him a pass. I'm a Josh Allen fan. You do not get a pass from me at this stage of your career, starting with the schedule like this and be like, man, you'd be lucky if you win 1 or 2 games. You are a MVP caliber Super Bowl contending quarterback. You need to win at least 3 out of these 4 games. You're even starting the season.
To be clear, I'm not giving him a pass. I'm just saying it's going to happen.
I'm just letting you know. I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, they started the season. No, absolutely not. Buffalo, you know what it is, right? Like this team, the leadership of this team, whether it be front office or players, people have been around to know what Sean McDermott's firing meant and what Joe Brady's hiring means. And this is an all-in. All the chips are pushed in on Josh Allen and this offense and his ability. You got to go out and perform. There's no excuses after this. There's really no out. Like this is like their way of saying like we're all in. Yeah, they're Josh Allen.
They're all in on this season on Josh Allen. Brady probably gets. If this is a failure of a year, Joe Brady's out.
Yeah, I don't think Joe Brady gets a long leash at all, man. And if it doesn't work, then yeah, I've already seen Josh Allen talking about how Sean McDermott getting fired kind of stinks and he feels bad about it. Well, put that energy into making sure Joe Brady doesn't get back. Because I love Joe Brady. He doesn't get enough credit for what he did for Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and all those guys who we see every Sunday now. The only person who sang his praise was Sean Payton, apparently. And so I'm hoping that he's successful because he got a raw deal down in Carolina with Matt Rule, man. That was awful.
Most people get a raw deal when they go down to Carolina.
But it was his fault, man. He shouldn't have back. Matt Rule was terrible. But anyway, he's got an MVP caliber quarterback, man. Go win some football games.
Exactly. And it's going to start, my prediction, it's going to start off slow. And they're going to be cast aside. I remember a couple of years ago, they had like a 2% chance to make the playoffs. They then rattled off a bunch of wins. And that's going to happen this year. They're going to start off like limping out of the gates, and then all of a sudden they're going to turn it on. You're going to look up and you're going to be like, wait, the Buffalo Bills are leading the AFC East, and they're a favorite to be the 1 seed. Like they are going to have a tale of 2 seasons. And
I got one grievance with this. How did you admit all this nonsense about the Saints winning the NFC South?
Because I just don't believe it, and when I hear it, I don't hear it. If the Saints in the NFC South, we need to, you know how we do relegation? The Bucs can we send them to the new Pac-12?
Yeah,
they got to get out of here, and the Saints are so interesting. The Bucs are going to win that division, and that might be heinous to say after the poor season last year, but like, Baker's probably the best quarterback in that division.
I don't think it's probably. He's got to be.
Like, Baker's the best. They got, Tyrone McMillan might be the number 1 receiver in that division.
No disrespect to Drake London.
Oh, I forgot about him. All right, so Drake London 1, T-Mac 2. Abuka's like the 3rd best receiver in that division. He was struggling with injuries last year after.
If Olave was healthy, I'd take Olave over Abuka. Abuka was really disappointing to me, man. Maybe because JSN was so good, but man, Abuka was so disappointing.
Abuka, through the first 6 weeks of the season, he had a plus 1.5 EPA per catch, a 2.41 yards per route run. That is elite level production. Then he suffered the injury in week 6, his hamstring strain, and from week 7 on, he kind of had a sophomore slump within his rookie year, where he dropped his yards per route run by 43%, and his EPA per catch went down 40%. So, weeks 1 through 6, when he was healthy, I'm a big Abuka believer. I think he's going to be really good. But, man, I don't even pay attention to Saints stuff. Like, when people talk about the Saints, I'm like, they're going to go 6-11, and we are not going to care about New Orleans.
Tyler Shuck's been on lists and stuff.
People talking about him as a potential MVP.
I know, it's been insane.
We watched the same season of football media because we're on the same page with the Saints.
I don't understand it either. I'm all about being optimistic, but like, you go from what Tyler Shuck was last year to to MVP caliber season. I don't think you go from what the Saints were last year to division winners, honestly, because I see room for the Panthers to go. I see the Bucks still maintaining some level of supremacy, and then we've got Stefanski and the Falcons. And Stefanski, for what it's worth, can't coach, unlike some of these other guys that have been in Atlanta. So we'll see.
I think it's gonna be a 2-team race between the Bucks and the Panthers. Because I think the Falcons, I love Stefanski. I think he's going to bring a lot of good success there, but they don't have a quarterback. They've got to find a quarterback down there. I'm sorry, Penix. I'm sorry, Tua. But they ain't the answer down there. So I think this is a reset year for Atlanta, and it's going to be between the Bucks and the Panthers. And then the Saints are just going to be there. And I do not understand it. What I saw from Shuck, what I saw from the Saints in totality last season, does not inspire confidence. Travis Etienne, formerly known as ETN, he doesn't inspire confidence as a running back. Yeah, I didn't even include it because I don't even think about the Saints. They're not even on my radar of teams to think about. All right, let's get a quick break and we'll step aside. Be back with more Fitz the Bill here on this Tuesday morning. Feel free, call, text in here on this Tuesday. Radke Insurance phone line is open. 804-327-0888. Head on over to radkeyinsurance.com to get started on your free quote today.
You're with Fitz the Bill on 106.1 ESPN Richmond this morning. Short break coming up.
106.1 ESPN on-air interviews presented by the Herman Allen Plumbing Heating and Cooling Hotline with Lennox products that make the air in your home absolutely perfect.
Businesses have a responsibility to keep you safe. Patch the pothole, fix the broken stuff, wipe the parking lot, mop the floor, and put up a signage. When you skip those basics and someone gets hurt, that's negligence. If you slid, tripped, or fell on someone else's property, Alex and Shannara Trial Attorneys want to hear from you. Call 877-222-6666 or visit AlexWings.law for your free case evaluation. AlexWings.law. Bon Air Shell is family-owned and operated and has been serving the Richmond community for over 20 years. At Bon Air Shell, you'll find old-school service with modern-day technology, and our certified technicians will get you back on the road in no time. Stop by for a quick fill-up, shop for new tires, ask us about a check engine light, or let us help with any of your auto service needs. Find us at 8762 Huguenot Road near the historic Bon Air section of Southside and online at bonAirShell.com.
Catch up on the latest horse racing news with Off to the Races live broadcast 10 a.m. to noon every Saturday on 106.1 ESPN. Presented by the Racing Biz. Your ambition just made its match. Play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control, all on one platform. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move.
That pattern of pavers collecting dust, the beginnings of a garden, those stray fence posts. Are you haunted by half-finished projects on your land? John Deere is here to say, not anymore. Our compact tractors allow you to swap implements easily, and they're backed by the nation's largest dealer network. You always had the right idea, and with the right tools, those projects can get finished for good. Nothing runs like a Deere. Learn more at johndeere.com/compact tractors.
Some police directing traffic at the intersection of Gaskins Road and Mainland Drive. Taking a look at 95 northbound, we're seeing some backup between Bells Road and Maury Street, as well as between the 6 of Woodward and Bertie Street overpass. There's also been an accident on West Broad Street, just west of Virginia Boulevard. Get over at the Blue Chop Road at Northtown.
Richmond wanted local sports talk in the morning, and we Fitz the Bill. Back now on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
Get jiggy with it. Get jiggy with it. Get jiggy with it.
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill here on this Tuesday morning. The Jackson Dart hype is already starting. It's already started. His slide is getting huge reviews from the New York Giants as he's learning how to get down and avoid the hit. Maybe if he can do that, this team won't need to go to their QB2 or even QB3 at some point this season. But Coach John Harbaugh, he said he clapped and applauded. He applauded when Jackson Dart went down the slide. The hype around Dart has already begun. We've got a quarterback that can slide. I remember the RG3 offseason. I wasn't following his injury, where they brought in a sliding coach, like a baseball sliding coach, for him to work on his slide because he was taking too many hits. This is my favorite training camp storyline for semi-mobile quarterbacks and mobile quarterbacks. It's always hilarious how they've got to work on their slide. They've got to do this. They've got to do that. And in training camp, it's awesome. They're figuring it out. They're doing it. And then when the season comes around, they take one big hit. They're in the blue tent, and then they're out for season.
So I don't know if I said slide or get down. If I did say slide, I misspoke. I don't think sliding is as safe as people think. I would rather you just get down and protect yourself, because there's still a lot of times where people slide and you're still catching headshots.
Well, that, and also, look, the turf issue, the grass issue, whatever you want to do.
You're not going to get any give on turf if you go to slide. So
so many guys have their feet get caught up underneath them, and then they end up kind of tumbling over it. And
I don't know what to tell him, man, because if you don't tell Jackson Dart to slide, he'll probably dive head first.
If you tell him to do anything, he'll probably do the opposite, though. Still, he is such an interesting quarterback.
I will give him credit, though. He's a competitor. He ain't gonna run from it, which is great. But it's also detrimental to some extent.
Speaking of sophomore quarterbacks, I've got one that I am eyeing for a major breakout this upcoming season. I am all over Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward, and again, I got to say, I've been watching the show Quarterback on Netflix, where they highlight Cam Ward, Jaden Daniels,
falling for the propaganda,
Joe Flacco, Baker Mayfield. Look,
Cam should be fine.
I'm falling for the propaganda of Cam Ward because they are showing what his process is, and he actually has a good process. He watches so much film. He's got the arm talent. He's got the ability. He's got what he needs between the ears. It was a bad season last year, right? He completed less than 60% of his passes. He only threw for 15 touchdowns in 17 games, threw for less than 3,200 yards. He had a negative EPA per dropback. What does that mean? It means every single play, every time that he dropped back to pass, Cam Ward was actively hurting his team's ability to score. He had a 37.3% success rate, which is terrible as a quarterback. That should be above 50% success rate. Essentially what it measures on first down, did you gain 50% of the yards needed for a first down? On second down, did you get 50% of the yards? And on third and fourth down, did you get 100% of the yards needed for a first down? So on first and 10, did you make it second and 4? On second and 4, did you make it third and 1? And on third and 1, did you make it first and 10? It's really that simple. That's what success rate is measuring. And Cam Ward was not doing that. But there are a couple of things in Cam Ward's game that make me excited for his future. His explosive pass rate was fantastic, and his play in the red zone, albeit Tennessee didn't get into the red zone all that often, but his play in the red zone when he was facing an extreme amount of pressure, he was pretty darn good. 22.2% touchdown rate, red zone touchdown rate. Showed that he is poised in high leverage situations and played fairly well on third down as well. So in high leverage moments in the games last season, Cam Ward played well. I am bullish on Cam Ward. I've bought a lot of stock this offseason. With Carnell Tate, with a new offensive system, with a new head coach, he's going to take a massive step forward. Similar to that, I'm not saying they're Super Bowl team. No, I'm not saying that. But similar to that step up that Drake May took from his freshman campaign to his sophomore campaign, I could see Cam Ward doing something similar, where all of a sudden we look at him and we go, man, that kid is really, really freaking good. I don't see that happening for Jackson Dart. All right, let's get a quick break in. Step aside. We've got that's right. We got Dolphin Dave out there on line one. Good morning, Dolphin Dave. I do apologize. How are you on this Tuesday?
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm doing great, getting ready to go walk into work. Listen, first thing with Jackson Dart, I don't care how good he slides. I'm not taking him in my fantasy league. Just to let you know. You may want to give him that information so he is prepared for that. Just, listen, Mike McDaniel is the offensive coordinator for, am I right, the Chargers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I've been listening, when I don't listen to you guys and when I don't listen to Matt in the evening, I'm listening to the Fantasy Channel, okay? And all this hype and all this excitement, we got Mike McDaniel. And this may sound sour grapes, and I don't have anything personal against the guy, but the guy is not adaptable. And maybe he learned something with the weapons he has and things like that. But when we had people that were good and went down, i.e. Tua, i.e. Hill, he could not adapt his game to them. He was adapting the game to the guy. He was his quarterback, now that was coming in, was expected to act like Tua. His wide receiver coming in was expected to act like Hill. So instead of adapting his game to, and I don't understand the excitement out in Charger land. I think they're going to find that he is a very smart offensive coordinator, but if you've got injuries, you're in trouble.
That's a great point. Appreciate you calling in, Dolphin Dave. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. That has been kind of one of the Achilles heels of McDaniel, because I'll even go so far to say they had a lot of injuries on their offensive line, and when you see the splits that the Dolphins had under Mike McDaniel with a healthy offensive line versus a unhealthy offensive line, completely different teams. You can see the same splits with Hill, with Tua. I think the argument is, and why there is so much excitement, is because he is such an elite level offensive mind. And there is hope that after being fired, kind of taking a step back, going into an OC role alongside, look, I feel comfortable saying it, even if he was a 49ers coach, right? Probably one of the best head coaches in the NFL right now. You go alongside him, you can learn a little bit there on how you can become adaptable. I think there's hope that he is open to learning this season, and with Justin Herbert, you've got a pretty good safety blanket. Although I know Alan probably doesn't think he's the best safety blanket.
I mean, he's better than Tua. Matter of fact, I would argue he's the best quarterback McDaniels has ever worked with.
By far.
Because he had Garoppolo when he was in San Francisco.
He was the run game coordinator, man. Yeah. Right?
But he was also with Kyle and them back with
in Washington.
Washington and the Browns. He was on the Johnny Manziel team as well. So yeah, he's been around for a while. I think you look at McDaniels and you give him the North Turner thing. North as a head coach was awful. North as an offensive coordinator was just fine. Some guys just are better off being
Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs. Great. He could be one of the few Hall of Fame coordinators we have. Yeah, honestly, Josh McDaniels. The plural of Mike McDaniel, try to keep that straight. And then you got a McDonald in there as well up there in the Pacific Northwest. I digress. But yeah, Josh McDaniels, elite level OC. Hall of Fame level OC. Hall of Fame terrible head coach.
If you gave me a staff with Harbaugh as my head coach, McDaniels is my offensive coordinator, and Adam Gase is the passing game coordinator, I would be really happy with that.
And people are making fun of the Adam Gase hire in there in Los Angeles as the passing game coordinator. I mean, he did really well when he was a passing game coordinator with Peyton Manning.
Going from head coach to analyst to offensive coordinator, I think it's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with a demotion in the sense of the NFL. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Sometimes guys get with teams, and Steichen doesn't have a quarterback, and he's a head coach. Yeah. He's not going to have a long tenure as a head coach. Like, he doesn't have a lot of talent. Frank Wright kind of had that happen to him a little bit. Like, he got head coaching positions, but he didn't have a lot of talent.
Yeah, he also kind of failed with
But you're kind of stuck sometimes. Like
Dan Quinn even. Dan Quinn got to a Super Bowl and then lost his quarterback. Matt Ryan then was on the downturn of his career.
Yeah.
Never returned, got fired, spent some time in Dallas, remade his image as a DC, now with Washington.
There are some guys that you can't... Actually, I'll be confident in saying this. You can't transcend talent but so much at the NFL level. Yes. In college, you can't. In high school, we definitely know you can. But in the NFL, man, like it's hard to win Super Bowls or win games with the Trent Dilfers and Brad Johnsons. Yeah. You're not going to see too many of those guys across our like winning circles.
And the lack of adaptability, I think, is a real flaw with McDaniel, where he really tried to fit a square peg into a round hole when Tyreek Hill went out and he tried to put a new wide receiver in.
And Tua, man. You're not replacing him to save his life.
And then whenever Tua went out, the next quarterback in, Tua has a lot of flaws in his game, but something he's really good at, he is going to put the ball where it needs to be. He's going now. If it requires it being 60 yards on the field, that's a completely different story. But when it's like 5 yards down, it's 1-2 hit out. He's going to do it, and that's a good thing in the Mike McDaniel system. But when things start to go wrong, that's also a bad thing because 1-2 ball out, right? Sometimes he's throwing it to the defender who's in that spot because he hasn't looked, and like those are some of the issues that I think Mike McDaniel was dealing with. I'm still a big Mike McDaniel believer. I think he is going to do amazing things in that Chargers offense. But again, I'm part of the Herbert hive. I'm part of the if-man hive. I'm all in on the Chargers. I think they're going to win the AFC West. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. And look, I'm already starting the way too early season predictions that aren't going to age well. I'm already all in on it. The Chargers, man, Super Bowl, here we come.
Justin Herbert and the iffies.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll be iffy number one. I'll do it. With Joe Wall coming back, with Sean Slater coming back, whew, they can stay healthy.
Joel, I'm back.
They can stay healthy. That's always the big gift. If you look at the Super Bowl champions over the last 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, all of the years, right? What's the common denominator with the Super Bowl champion? They stay healthy. So, yeah, it's a big if, but if you're able to do it, right? You could mess around and have some fun in the postseason. All right, let's get a quick break in. Step aside. News or snooze coming up on the other side.
You're listening to Fitz the Bill. Don't touch that dial.
Nothing Bun Cakes is all about bringing joy. We're your one-stop shop for all occasions and holiday celebrations. Stop by any one of our 5 Nothing Bun Cakes bakeries in the Richmond area or visit online at nothingbuncakes.com.
Summertime in RVA means one thing. Golf season is here. If you're looking for the perfect golf course, head over to Queenfield Golf Club, located just a few minutes east of Mechanicsville. Queenfield offers a beautifully secluded 18-hole course, spacious driving range, and professionally maintained practice greens and bunkers. Schedule your tee time today by calling 804-769-8838 or reserve a spot online at queenfieldgolf.com and make Queenfield Golf Club your new favorite course.
Highways and hunting grounds. The Predators, 18-wheelers, 80,000-pound killing machines sharing the road with your family. A semi-truck doesn't need you speeding to destroy your life. At just 30 miles per hour, a fully loaded big rig can crush your car like a soda can. Your airbags, your seatbelts, they weren't built for that. Alexander Schnarr, trial attorneys. Most trucking companies cut corners on maintenance, push drivers past legal limits, and hire underqualified operators. You shouldn't pay the price. If you've been injured in a trucking accident, call Alexander Schnarr Trial Attorneys. You're not just fighting a driver, you're fighting a billion-dollar corporation with an army of lawyers. Alexander Schnarr Trial Attorneys have thrived over the years by taking on the trucking industry. They fight harder, they win bigger. Alexander Schnarr Trial Attorneys is on your side. One call is all it takes. No cost, no risk. And they don't get paid until you do. Call 877-222-6666 or visit alexwheels.law. They fight for you.
1061 ESPN on-air interviews presented by the Herman Allen Plumbing Heating and Cooling Hotline with Lennox products that make the air in your home absolutely perfect. Tune in to the Henrico Huddle with Dennis Bickmeyer the last Wednesday of each month afternoons on 1061 ESPN or updates online at henricosea.com.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-727-9105. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105.
Amber and Ian, the USC Trojans, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish will renew their rivalry
think it's a big deal because you want your greatest rivalries. That's what makes college football so special, is the emotion. It is the rivalries. And yes, Notre Dame can do whatever the heck it wants, but when it comes to bringing these rivalries and making sure that there's contracts in place that maintain them, I think that's important for the overall sport.
Amber and Ian, weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Sports morning with some afternoon thunderstorms overnight and localized sound and some flooding. We're expecting hot and humid temperatures throughout the rest of the day, with a high reaching 93 and lows tonight dropping down to 74.
No national voices. No syndicated takes. Just Richmond's own morning sports talk. Fits the bill on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. News. Read all about it. Or snooze.
News this morning coming in hot with some NFL news. As Bills to address feedback on stadium complaints.
You just invested $2.1 billion in your new stadium. They hosted over 50,000 fans on Saturday for the return of the blue and red practice. Then there was a lot of social media outcry about obstructed sightlines. Chat, it's bad. Chat, it's real bad. Small video boards, steep upper deck stairs. If you look 5 rows of the second deck, you have to watch the game through the glass paneling. You invested $2.1 billion. You couldn't have invested another $1 million in this just to do a quick, 3D rendering of it to see what it is.
I can't fathom 2 point whatever billion. I can't fathom.
Have I told you my rant on billion?
Yeah,
how the human mind is incapable.
I don't even know what it looks like. But when you say billions, I expect to get whatever I want, however I want, as big as I want. And brother, that screen wouldn't work for me in my garage. What are you doing, man? I'm like, a new stadium. Where's the bells and whistles?
It's a new stadium, $2.1 billion. You couldn't have spent $2 million more on a massive video board. What's the difference between $2.1 billion and $2.5 billion? I'm genuinely asking.
Man, Dallas got a 60-yard screen
that gets punch blocked.
Yeah,
that's home field advantage. People were mad about that. No. That's what I call home field advantage.
Bills went down to Costco, saw the sale for the 82-inch, and was like, "We can put this in the stadium."
That's how it works. They're the type of people that go to Costco to buy tickets for football games.
What a joke, man!
Jeez Louise, I'm over it. I'm so upset. The team president says complaints are coming from less than 1% of PSL holders, and some of the viral photos were shot from seats not actually sold for football games, but they're used for concerts and other events. Bills say they have 6 weeks to refine the details before their home opener against Detroit on September 17th. Couple of things. One, why do you have seats in the stadium that are used for concerts and other events, but not for football games? It's $2.1 billion. Get enough seats in there that you can do it for concerts or football games or whatever. Additionally, PSLs are stupid and are ruining sports. Private seat license.
It sounds like somebody was trying to cut corners and save costs. But I don't so where did the extra money come from then? Or where did the extra money go to then? Because clearly we go to the fan experience.
Look,
are the suites nice?
I don't know. I don't know.
The suites.
What's next? I don't want to get too
Sources. Cowboys, Quentin Williams reached $105.9 million deal.
Newsworthy. $101 million of that $105.9 million is guaranteed. $63.5 million is fully guaranteed at signing. It's reportedly the most guaranteed at signing money ever for a defensive tackle. He's now under contract through 2030 at $35.3 million per year. It's the second highest average annual value for a defensive tackle, trailing only Jalen Carter, who inked his extension just a couple of weeks ago. And just as a reminder, they traded for Quentin Williams last season. They gave up a second rounder, a first rounder, and a failed draft pick in Mozzie Smith at defensive tackle spot to get him. But Christian Parker, he must really like Quinnen Williams if they're willing to go all in on the defensive tackle, the young defensive tackle who is an all-pro caliber type of guy.
Well, you need him if you're Dallas, for sure.
Yeah, because you gave up, I don't know, a generational talent named, what was his name? Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the meat and potatoes of that Michael Parsons big brain trade, for sure. So if you let
Jerry knew he was going to tear his ACL.
Yeah, but if you let Quinnen Williams walk, then we're having a different discussion about why did we trade Micah then?
Yeah.
The price tag is a little too high for me, but they gotta sign him, right? You gotta keep him. He clearly can't be more than Jalen Carter. I don't think he's better than Jeffrey Simmons, but he's signing after Simmons. Yeah. Like, he has to be a little bit in front of him. I get it. Chris Jones, he's like a bargain.
Yeah, he signed waivers. But that's the thing. It's smart of Dallas to get ahead of this one.
Yeah.
Unlike what they're doing with George Pickens, they're just costing themselves millions there. But like in a year or two, this is going to look like a bargain.
No, for sure.
Because Byron Murphy's coming up in the next couple of years for Seattle. Jalen Carter was up. They just signed him to the extension. Like
Derek Brown for the Panthers. Get pretty nice payday.
So this is he's currently the second highest, but in 2020, by the time this contract's up in 2030, he's going to be like the 10th highest paid defensive player.
I would keep an eye on Jordan Davis. I don't believe he's going to be.
They inked him to an extension.
I know they inked him to an extension, but like, I think within the next couple of years, because they got a potential out in like 2029. Yeah. I'll give it 2 seasons, man. They'll probably be looking to move him.
All right.
Just because they can't keep like over $60 million in your defensive lineman, man. Like it's in the early 90s. But they are 2 tanks, and it's good to have that foundation up front, especially when we're talking about teams playing more 12 and 13 personnel.
Yeah, exactly. All right, what's the last one?
The last one is SMU's Jennings Limited in camp with jammed finger.
She's ready. Although my preseason pick to win ACC Player of the Year, that campaign just took a little bit of a hit, but he's expected to be ready by week 1. There's zero concerns about it, no long-term effects, but it is a scary headline coming out of SMU camp, especially if you're an SMU believer, like a good number of people were down there at ACC Media Day.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be. I didn't think he was going to be the player of the ACC Player of the Year.
Are you all in on Darian Mensah?
So I understand why people are picking Mensah, but I would have went Tony.
We could not vote. Yeah, you could vote. You could vote for him. I was going to vote for Malachi.
I had to explain that to my friends too. I was like, well, they couldn't vote for him, and they didn't understand it. I don't understand it.
I didn't get it why we can't. Yeah, but that's a whole. I guess I was going to vote for Malachi.
Malachi Tony is going to be incredible.
Honestly, I would put Darian Mensah third in my picks to win ACC Player of the Year. It would put Kevin Jennings, C.J. Bailey, and I'd put Darian Mensah there. I'm really high on C.J. Bailey. I think being a third-year starter in the same system speaks volumes for him. He's going to have so much development. Kevin Jennings is just a dog of a quarterback, and we
expect Bailey to take a step up.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then Darian Mensah, I think, is just going to profit off of having arguably the best wide receiver in all of college football.
And I'm adding a butt because you got to have some style points, man. So
that's
NC State doesn't have a lot of marquee games either. So
you just got to put up a lot. I got one more for you.
Yeah,
one more late breaking one just came through a couple of minutes ago. The NBA schedule dropped.
I was going to say that too.
Knicks raised their championship banner against the 76ers. Woo! Celtics Pistons on opening night. Thunder Spurs. The Christmas games. What are the Christmas games? One of them.
Spurs Knicks. Celtics, 76ers, Lakers, Thunder, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Warriors. I would have probably mixed and matched a little differently.
I feel so bad for the NBA, man. The NBA had Christmas as their thing, and then the NFL just came walking on in and said, just slammed themselves down and said, all right, this is our day, man.
More people watch the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like premier sports. Yeah, like, come on. Which, don't get me wrong, man. I love football, but give me the Stanley Cup and these exhibition games.
Hand up. I do not watch the preseason.
Yeah, hand up. I watched it because it's our job in my mind. It's what we're supposed to do. But I was not anticipating, like, I looked forward to the Stanley Cup and some of these other things. I'm a different sports consumer corner.
Hand up, I do not watch the preseason Hall of Fame game. Yeah. I do not watch. I watch preseason games. I do not watch the Hall of Fame.
It's rough. But
I know. I don't want to watch Haynes King and Carson Beck.
Wendy, if you don't come out in a Grinch outfit for that Knicks Spurs on Christmas, I'm gonna disown you. You gotta be the Grinch.
Who's the MVP early on? MVP of the NBA season.
Of the NBA?
Wendy? I'm gonna pick Wendy.
I think it's gonna be Wendy.
That'll be for hour one. Hour number 2 coming up. We've got an update on the Laramie Tunsil injury from Dan Quinn's press conference yesterday. Plus, maybe talking some breakout stars looking ahead to the 2026 NFL season. Plus, our two-a-days roll right along at 9:30. Our high school football previews today. It's Cosby and J.R. Tucker. We'll play those interviews from the 804 High School Football Media Day last week at 9:30. Stay with us. We'll be back with more Fitz the Bill right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
106.1 ESPN on-air interviews presented by the Herman Allen Plumbing Heating and Cooling Hotline with Lennox products that make the air in your home absolutely perfect.
Catch up on the latest horse racing news with Off to the Races live broadcast 10 a.m. to noon every Saturday on 106.1 ESPN. Presented by the Racing Biz.
Looking for a neighborhood service station that can provide premium fuel for your car, auto repairs, and friendly advice? Stop by the family-owned Bon Air Show, 8762 West Huguenot Road.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines closing. With USPS Crowd Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network door to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Crowd Advantage to learn more.
Ryan Rose here from Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Premium Wireless. Ready to get 30, 30, ready to get 30, ready to get 20, 20, 20, ready to get 20, 20, ready to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month. Sold!
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $70 for 6 months, or $190 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes and slow. Network is busy. See terms.
Summertime in RVA means one thing. Golf season is here. If you're looking for the perfect golf course, head over to Queenfield Golf Club, located just a few minutes east of Mechanicsville. Queenfield offers a beautifully secluded 18-hole course, spacious driving range, and professionally maintained practice greens and bunkers. Schedule your tee time today by calling 804-769-8838 or reserve a spot online at queenfieldgolf.com. And make Queenfield Golf Club your new favorite course.
Your home for Richmond Spiders athletics all year round. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 106.1 ESPN. You're listening to the second hour of Fitz the Bill on 106.1
Welcome in hour number 2 of Fitz the Bill right here on 106.1 ESPN. Richmond, appreciate you clocking in, getting your day started with us, kicking things off hour number 2. Some good / bad / read it however you want to read it news, because we're getting one thing from Dan Quinn. We're getting another thing from Adam Schefter when it comes to this Laramie Tunsil injury. So Laramie Tunsil, it has been confirmed that he tore his tricep and that Laramie Tunsil will undergo surgery to repair the torn tricep. There was no timeline given, but the team and Dan Quinn is hoping that he can return at some point this season. Just from a 1,000-foot view, right? Recovery for this typically runs anywhere from 4 to 7 months. This is what Quinn said yesterday at the podium at the press conference, talking about the Laramie Tunsil injury and what they expect out of it now that he is going to have surgery and be out for at least 4 months.
He did injure his tricep. He is going to get surgery, and it's always tough to talk about a player missing time, and especially a great player like LT.
Not only is he an unbelievable player, like he is a absolutely fantastic teammate, and he'll be missed. And we can't wait to get him back. When these tough scenarios come up, it does provide some opportunities, and Brandon Coleman will shift back out to left tackle. He's played a lot of winning football at left tackle here, and we know that he's ready for it.
Can I go on a quick tangent real quick as Dan Quinn went to the podium yesterday? Quick tangent. Some nicknames are reserved for only certain people. I know Laramie Tunsil's initials are LT, but come on, LT Lawrence Taylor, right? Like, come on. Some nicknames are, like, you can't call anyone OJ.
Well,
that might be for other reasons.
They can do the Damian Thomason sometimes.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So, yeah, I mean, you can earn it. It's not like the sugar moniker of boxing, where like it gets passed down to only certain levels of great. I think Tunsil for a left tackle
is an LT caliber player.
Yeah, he's an LT. That's actually LT.
I'll see it. I'll see that.
Also, have you seen him in person?
You're not saying that to his face.
I'm cool.
Hey, you do it.
You want to be called, big man?
So
want to be called.
Hey, big man. Hey, how tall is he? 6'7"?
Bro, he's like he is 6'7", I'm sure. Hey, he's probably 6'7". I mean, he's pretty tall, man. But it's being that tall and just being so massively wide and just really strong, man. Like he makes Cosme and the rest of those guys look small when he's standing next to him in the locker room, and they're big guys.
So he's listed at 6'5", 350.
There's no way he's 6'5". He's definitely taller than 6'5".
Yeah, he's a big guy. Yeah. He's a big guy. Hopefully he can return quickly. But Brandon Coleman, Dan Quinn confirmed that he will move over to the left tackle spot, the LT spot. And some people say maybe Tunsil was born to play left tackle, man. I get why. I get why he doesn't want to go to right tackle. His name isn't Laramie Tunsil; it's Laramie Tunsil, so he's got to play at the LT spot.
Now, to your credit, we were talking about this yesterday, and you were asking, if there was any consideration to moving Connolly to left tackle, and Rick actually asked Coach Quinn that question. Like I said, I was surfing the internet last night looking at stuff, and I ran across this question, and he said, similar to what you were implying, is that the fact that Fitz is going to come back at some point, the development of Connolly on the right side is paramount and more important to the franchise and to the Commanders right now than moving him over to left tackle and expediting that process. Yeah. Of what is going to be the natural transition. So Coleman does have a lot of experience here. Like I said, this is the unit that has the depth that if something like this were to happen, you're not going to feel it as bad as if it was the quarterback or the wide receiver, or if it was even the running back, even if it was Krosky Merritt. Like you're just not going to feel it the same. And so Chris Paul can slide in, Coleman's going to slide in. And then we've also got Trent Scott is probably an option as well.
You got Cosme.
Cosme and Cosme. I think they wanted to keep him, or is it Allegre? I can't remember who they moved inside, but they want to keep one of them at guard. And then Coleman was going back and forth with guard, but he had probably, I think, the most snaps last year as left tackle. It'll be fine. Again, there's going to be a drop off because Laramie Tunsil is Laramie Tunsil, but it's not the end of the world.
Thank you.
It's not.
Thank you. I wholeheartedly agree. And I also thank you for boosting my ego a little bit. That Quinn said is essentially what I said.
Yeah, it was interesting.
But this is the interesting part on this injury because, Dan Quinn, of course, he's saying what he's going to say, and he believes that Tunsil will eventually return to the team this season. But Adam Schefter, he's reporting that, there's a good chance that he's going to miss the season. He reported that Laramie Tunsil is expected to miss, quote, significant time, if not the season, end quote. So Dan Quinn, he is very optimistic when he takes to the press conference podium. He's going to be very optimistic in what he is saying publicly, but it seems like potentially, because Adam Schefter, he's an NFL insider for ESPN, he has sources everywhere across the league. Somewhere there's a pessimistic view on how they are viewing the Laramie Tunsil injury, which that would be a bummer. But also at the end of the day, if you're going to miss him for 12 weeks, what's 5 more?
He's old. That's an injury that even when it heals, it takes a lot of time because it's a delicate situation because it's a tricep tear, correct?
Yeah, and you can't rush back from that. He's not going to be able to lift weights.
My friend tore his tricep, and it took him quite some time, and he was clearly way younger than him. This happened when we were in college, so he was in we were both athletes, so he was in the prime of his life at that time. So it took a while for him, and it's just because the notion of doing exercises and things like that when it's a tear, it's such a delicate process because anything can re-aggravate that injury. Yeah. And so he can't use that arm for quite some time. I wish we had the Ortho Virginia people to kind of walk you through the diagram, but it's a tough injury.
It's really tough injury. It's a muscle injury. Like that is not fun.
Yeah. Right? I would even go on and say I probably prefer my bicep to be torn over my tricep.
I'd prefer an ACL tear.
I got an ACL tear. I can tell you that's not what you want. But I got to think about like J.J. Watt had a couple of bicep tears, and you see guys with pectoral tears and things like that. People come back from that stuff, but a tricep I think is just a little bit different. And like I said, he is older. I would still err on the side of being optimistic. We see him at the very tail end of the season. Over just like completely writing it off. Like modern medicine has come a long way. He should be able to heal.
It's a question of healing and then how
he wants to come back.
He wants to come back, how the season's going, right? Like if they're in the thick of a playoff chase, he probably comes back if he's able to. But then you got to imagine, how does rehab work with this? Like how quickly is he able to keep muscle on / put muscle back on? Because like you said, you can't really do anything because there's the risk of re-aggravating the injury. So you really can't touch weights. You can't really do a ton of exercises. So, I mean, I'm fascinated to see how they're going to handle it. But I think Brandon Coleman will be a successful left tackle. His rookie campaign, we talked about it yesterday, he logged over 1,000 snaps at the left tackle spot. What did that team do? They got to the NFC Championship game, albeit the offensive line was a little iffy at best during that 2024 season. But Brandon Coleman's got the experience. You've got to imagine that now, after having 1 full year as a starter at the left tackle, kind of a swing tackle guard, kind of do-it-all utility Swiss Army knife guy last season, he should be much better than what he was in 2024 and 2026. But Tunsil was the only commander to crack the top 10 in ESPN's preseason survey of coaches and execs heading into 2026. So he is, without question, the best player on this roster. And now Washington is going to try and overcome that loss, putting it all on Jaden Daniels. Like, it's going to be the Jaden show in 2026. How does he respond? I think he responds well. I mean,
I'm really not the sky is falling on this.
I'm really not either.
It's a hit, but it's not
stinks. But the way some Commanders fans are reacting to this, just you got to quote Aaron Rodgers. I don't often quote Aaron Rodgers, but RELAX.
Yeah, and I think this again, that unit was probably the one that could handle it. I mean, even if anything,
you don't want the 49ers situation, right, where you're getting a new injury each and every day because the substation is just...
Yeah, the Niners situation where, like, if we lose our left tackle, that's the entire offensive line. It will collapse. It literally will just collapse. If Trent Williams ain't out there, like, don't even talk to me about it. It's over. It's not like that with Landon Tunsil. So these guys are a really solid unit, and hopefully they'll shine through and they'll be up for it. Because, again, I know we haven't talked about the Commanders a lot on this particular program, but doing the show with Lake, him being up at training camp and everything, being up there last year and getting the vibes on this year, this team definitely is more focused. These guys came in shape immediately, which is not something that they did last year. A lot of guys were not in shape last year when they got there.
They know that Dan Quinn's coaching for his job.
Yeah, and so I think the focus is there for this unit. I'm not going to go as far as saying lead the hype, but do understand that this team is in it to win it this year. Like everybody's focused on the same page, and that cohesiveness that we saw in year 1 when Jaden came as a rookie, I think we'll be back in year 3. Now, whether that results in wins, who knows? Schedule's totally different.
Yeah, totally different. It's difficult. I mean, you look at the early schedule for them, they've got some tests. Week 3, you're hosting a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, but at the end of the day,
for 2 NFC East games.
This is going to be a solid team, I think. So hopefully he comes back. I really would like to see him come back. I'm not willing to just be like, oh, that's it. It's over for him.
I mean, this is unfortunate for David Blau, right? Like the first-year offensive coordinator, he thinks he's going to have an all-world left tackle there to kind of destroy the blind side. And now he's like, all right, well, there goes all of my plans to just run it behind Laramie Tunsil each and every play and do all our play actions to his side so that we have that extra added layer of security. He's going to have to kind of reconfigure some things. But I'm glad to hear that the team is quote-unquote bought in and they're quote-unquote in the best shape of their life, everything like that, because Dan Quinn is coaching for his job, brings in 2 new coordinators. Let's go of Kingsbury. Let's go of, I've already forgotten the defensive coordinators. Joe Witt Jr., let go of him.
How do you forget him?
Yeah, there's a reason why. He goes into the other file folder in the old noggin. But, you know how important this is. You also know if you are a old commander at this point, like a Terry McLaurin, right, who has been through so many different quarterbacks, so many different iterations of this team. You're on a ticking clock, and this may be your best opportunity to win a Super Bowl. Not necessarily this season, but while you are on Jaden Daniels' rookie contract, that is the sweet spot. The Commanders hit a home run with getting Jaden Daniels. They hit a home run in year 1 with them. They absolutely struck out swinging on 3 straight pitches and looked like a fool doing it last season. Now you've got year 3, year 4. You've got a little bit more of an expensive year 5, which you're going to pick up on him. Then you've got a very expensive franchise tag you can use, a very expensive franchise tag you can use again. They're not going to get to that point. But in these first 5 years, you've already burned 2 of them. The clock is ticking. So everyone needs to be bought in because you don't want this to be another bad year. You lose your coach, and then all of a sudden you're in year 1 of a new coach, year 4 of Jaden Daniels' rookie contract. This is such an important year for Commanders fans and for the Commanders itself.
All right, you ready for some other Commander news? Oh, it's not on the field related?
Oh, what came through? What did I miss?
So the folks who are building the new stadium have been selected.
Okay.
It's the same people that built Nationals Park and Capital One Arena.
Okay.
And as far as NFL stadiums go, Raiders and Vikings. They built the Raiders and Vikings.
Vikings, that's a nice stadium. So now the Raiders look like a Roomba, but the Vikings looks awesome.
So for the folks who are maybe curious about that or wondering if there's any news on the horizon, they are well on their way to getting that going. So it kind of gives you an idea of maybe what you're going to be looking at as far as designs go.
Thank God it's not the group that built Highmark Stadium in Buffalo.
Thank God it's not that.
$2.1 billion flushed down the drain.
But that was literally just came through 10 minutes.
Some breaking news. Awesome. You know how cool it would be if they build that stadium and they win a Super Bowl that first year back in that new stadium? You know how awesome that would be?
It would be awesome, but it would also be extremely hard to do. And also, one of those things where you don't want success too soon, too fast, or otherwise it set those bars way too high. But I would love to see him have a Super Bowl at least in the first 3 to 4 years of that stadium being built. And I think as far as Daniel's contract, he'll be up for a contract right at that time.
He'll be in his new contract at that time. It's slated to open in the 2030 season.
That's what's about 2030.
26 is his year 3. 27 will be year 4. 28 will be year 5. So he'll be under his new contract. He'll be in year 2 of his new contract.
It'd be nice to win it before that. How about that?
Yeah. And I think the Commanders in that front office saying the exact same thing, because when Jaden Daniels, if he gets back to his rookie year type of performance, which I fully believe he will be because there's no reason to think he won't, right? If he gets back to his rookie year ability, he is going to set the record for highest paid quarterback. And it'll be completely worthwhile. But you look at the list of highest paid quarterbacks, not a lot of Super Bowl wins.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
It's a conversation we can have at another time, but I do hate that we put it all on the quarterback, win or lose, and we don't factor in the team component.
Well, it's just so much more difficult to win at a consistent rate when you are paying a quarterback so much money. You have got to nail each and every one of your draft picks because you cannot afford to go out and get a lot of free agents. When you just have that much money, 30% of your cap or whatever it is, tied up in one player, it's just a lot more difficult to put together a Super Bowl caliber roster.
Haven't they proven some of that stuff isn't true too, with teams saving money on quarterbacks and then spending more money in free agency and things like that? I don't think it always works out that way. I think it just depends.
Yeah, but here that right now, according to Over the Cap, the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks Patrick Mahomes at $64 million per year because he just did his rework deal this offseason. Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Jordan Love. That is only Patrick Mahomes with the Super Bowl, and he won that Super Bowl when he was not the highest paid quarterback in the league, when he was around the 8th or 10th highest paid quarterback. Past that, it's Trevor Lawrence, Matt Stafford, Jared Goff, Brock Purdy, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. Then you finally get to Jalen Hurts. So Stafford and Hurts are the two Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in that list of guys.
Yeah, to me, it just proves that you people value winning over just a Super Bowl. Because if it was just about the Super Bowls, and Jalen Hurts should be in the top 3 of that list. But he's not, and it's about the collective winning and obviously markets and things like that, how that works. I just hate to think that people will look at Jaden Daniels down the line and think that his contract is the reason why the Commanders would maybe not be successful because they don't have money to pay.
It'll be partly why. I mean, it'll be partly why.
When Brady was taking his pay cut, these guys were going out getting people that a lot of folks had written off. The biggest name I think they signed was Randy Moss. They traded for him. Yeah. So like even then, like they were not super active on high-profile free agents. Like they were bringing a Ocho Cinco at the time, but Ocho Cinco was at the end of his career. He wasn't demanding top $5. You know?
100. Yeah, but the argument is that when you do sign a guy to $65 million per year, you now just have. Let's just think of it in surplus value. Or look, Sam Darnold just signed a contract. He just won a Super Bowl. He's getting paid $33.5 million. Let's say some guy signs a $67 million contract. You are 100% more expensive than what Sam Darnold is. You now have to work around that with, let's say, $33.5 million less than what the Seahawks have. It just makes team building so much more difficult. And like, should the quarterback be punished for it? No. But is it a valid thing to say, he's eating up so much of the salary cap that it makes it more difficult? 100%. But at the end of the day, it falls on the front office, and the front office needs to make sure that they're nailing every single draft, they're signing every single fringe draft pick, which is what the Patriots did in the Tom Brady era, and it's why the Tom Brady era fell apart. They started whipping on draft picks, they were getting too cute, and their free agent signings just weren't hitting the same.
Imagine being Dak Prescott, taking the franchise tag, getting hurt, and then people get mad when you finally get the money that you obviously had earned, and you watch every other key player in your offensive system get franchise tags over and over. Like in the Cowboys, and I'm just using them as an example, they're not even paying the guys. Like, so even if you took a pay cut or tried to save them money, like some of these teams just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. So more of it falls in the front office, like in the Dallas situation. And like, if you do take a pay cut, you then hope, which is what Mahomes did, and it worked out for Mahomes. Now they're in this kind of purgatory type of stuff.
Patrick.
Where he is, I mean, the way his contract is set up, because they know they don't have a lot of big contracts on the books other than Mahomes, it's really Mahomes and Chris Jones, right? Traded away McDuffie, traded away L'Jarius Sneed a couple of years ago. He's able to get $64 million this year, and the way that contract is structured, that number drops pretty drastically over the next couple of years, so that they can rebuild the team around him. It's great front office work over there in KC, and that's really the most important part of it all. But the Commanders, all that being said, with this Laremy Tunsil thing, they've got to figure out a way to make sure they don't waste a year of the rookie contract with Jaden. All right, let's get a quick break in, step aside. We'll do a little Say What on this Tuesday morning on the state of rivalries in college football.
Fitz the Bill, Richmond's morning sports talk. Back in a moment.
Summer is better with baseball and community. Join incredible HVAC, incredible cleaning services, and RVA roofing services in supporting the Colonial Heights Optimist Club's 68th Annual Boys Invitational Baseball Tournament, August 6th through the 16th at Shepherd Stadium. Enjoy exciting baseball and celebrate one of the Tri-City's favorite summer traditions. Whether it's keeping your home cool, sparkling clean, or protected from the top down, the Incredible family is proud to support the Colonial Heights Optimist Club and the communities we call home.
I have a ding for you. After you use your old mop and bucket, put on your whitest socks and walk across the floor. Now look down. What's that gray stuff on your socks? I used to have that too, until I switched to Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop breaks down and locks away tough messes. Take the dare. Try Swiffer Power Mop. White sock approved.
to make the swap. Switch to Power.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a rush.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans and vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Ozempic, Wegovy, GLP-1, every day, 1 cup hot thing. What if I stop? The British Medical Journal says most gain every pound back 4 times faster. Why? The shot quiets your appetite. It can't touch your habits. They live in the subconscious where Ozempic can't go. There is an answer. The Journal of the American Medical Association found adding behavioral therapy to GLP-1 nearly tripled the results. Tripled. Hypnosis is behavior therapy concentrated. And the going method is hypnosis with federal records. A technology for rewiring the subconscious awarded a U.S. patent in 2002, engineered to kill cravings for wanting up the food, designed to work with no willpower needed. So the day you and your doctor decide you're done with shots, then your is already built. Only $59.99 or your money back. Weight loss seminar Monday, August 17th, 5:30 p.m. Hilton Garden Inn, Colonial Heights. Stop smoking 8 p.m. Or Tuesday, August 18th, 5:30 p.m. Comfort Suites at Virginia Center Commons. Stop smoking 8 p.m. Registration 30 minutes before. Sign up at alexgoen.com. GOEN. That's alexgoen.com.
When a doctor's mistake leaves you or someone you love seriously hurt, you need a fighter in your corner. Alexander Schnarr Trial Attorneys has been holding negligent doctors and hospitals accountable and getting families the justice they deserve. The consultation is free. They don't get paid until you do. Call 877-222-6666 or visit alexwins.law. Don't wait, alexwins.law.
This is Albert Company Material. This presents direct guarantee future outcome. Every case is different. Food, drug, is licensed attorney in Virginia is responsible for legal work. Office is located in Norfolk.
Alex Goen, patented hypnosis. Lose weight, destroy cravings, late day binges, stress eating. No hunger, no willpower. Only $59.99 or your money back. In town August 17th. Sign up at alexgoen.com. GOEN. That's alexgoen.com.
You're still glowing, flirty, groovy. You've still got it. But you're just a weak and busy age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer. Hop in the John Deere Direct UV for a day's work. Let's see what's on the to-do list. There goes the tree. And the fence. Not a problem. Because you've got a cargo box filled with solutions. Up to 4,000 pounds of towing capacity. And you're ready to roll. Here we go again. The Gator XUV. Built for every kind of workday. Learn more at JohnDeere.com/Gator XUV. Nothing runs like a deer.
Richmond's morning sports conversation continues.
It's the Bill.
Back now on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
What are you saying?
Excuse me?
What?
Excuse me?
What?
Say what?
What the f*** are you saying?
So back at Big Ten Media Days, Kyle Whittingham, the head coach of Michigan, said he didn't hate Ohio State. Now you just heard him; he's clarifying the comments, kind of jokingly asking, "Does hating them make it easier to win?" A little confrontational, a little bit, but just maybe it doesn't have the same hate that other coaches have had for Ohio State. But look, Alan, I've got some bad news because rivalries in the traditional sense are done.
I got some bad news. I don't believe that. And there are some teams and some rivalries. If you're not up for it, then why'd you take the job, bro? Like if I'm an Ohio State or a Michigan fan, if I'm a Michigan player, like what are you doing? Like what is this? It doesn't really matter. Like the board kind of said the same nonsense too. Like Don't go to these programs, man. You're at Michigan. You hate Ohio State. It doesn't matter what you hate Ohio State.
They don't anymore. The players in the country. No. The fans do.
He doesn't.
No. Some of the players don't. The transfers who just came in, they don't have the same age. Heck, I was talking with Davis Warren at ACC kickoff, right? Talking about Stanford and Cal. He talked about how, that's going to be, I know about the rivalry and everything, but that'll be the biggest game that we play in that week because that's the game we're playing in that week.
And Stanford and Cal is a microscopic rivalry compared to Ohio State.
No, and Microsoft. I don't know why I just said Microsoft.
I was about to say it too.
Michigan and Ohio State. Yes, it is the biggest and greatest rivalry in college football. And Kyle Whittingham downplaying it is a reason why that rivalries in the traditional sense are done. Because you look even out at the grander scheme of things. USC Notre Dame, they are not going to play football after the two teams could not come to an agreement on how that home-and-home series was going to look. They are going to play it from 2026 to 2029. Thankfully, after some backlash from fans, not players, not coaches, but fans on both sides, USC and Notre Dame has come together and they have put together a little bit of a contract starting in 2030.
Can I just say geographically that was stupid anyway?
Well, sure, but that is a rivalry in college sports, is it not? That is a rivalry that we have lost.
I look at Ohio State and Michigan like I look at Texas and Oklahoma. Like I would look at Alabama and Auburn, right? Like these are geographical, traditional rivalries that I don't care what generation you're in, you hate them. Like we wear them. We wear red because they wear blue type stuff. If you come to the team and you don't understand that, I wouldn't even have you on my team. But why? I'm a grad transfer and I'm one time college football just to find out how things go. If I'm Cam Coleman, right? If I'm the star wide receiver who just left Auburn, who transferred to Texas this offseason, he's only going to be there a year, then he's going to go get drafted. Why do I need to hit Oklahoma? I'm going to go out and I'm going to ball out and have 150 yards, 10 catches, 3 touchdowns. Why do I need to hate him to do it? I'm just saying that you need to hate him because you have to match their energy. Otherwise, you get embarrassed. But you've got rivalries across the nation that are ending because of conference realignment and just changes in the grand scheme of college sports. Look, JMU Richmond, a heated rivalry at the FCS level, does not exist anymore. JMU North Dakota State, because of how they ran into each other so many different times in the postseason, does not exist anymore because of conference realignment. Virginia Tech, UVA, it's lost some of its luster. Now, it's a bit of a bigger deal this year because James Franklin is there and UVA smacked around Virginia Tech last year. But nationally, Virginia Tech, UVA has lost the aura around it. And as we continue to go through these changes in the college landscape, we're going to continue losing traditional rivalries. But why? I truly do believe we have lost the traditional sense of the rivalry. From a fan perspective, there's still the hatred. But from a team perspective, coaches, players, personnel, there's just so much movement. Not everyone hates everyone. I just think it's silly for it to be like that. Why have we lost rivalries? Why does Kyle Whittingham, the head coach of Michigan, downplay the biggest rivalry in college football? Too nice, man. I mean, it's because he coached at Utah. He's from California. He wasn't raised, molded, you were born. I was born. Here's an example, though. Like Urban Meyer, I'll use him as an example. Yeah. The minute he put on Ohio State, he hated Michigan. He had to beat Michigan. He didn't have anything to do with the rivalry or anything like that. But from the program standpoint, that's a foundational component of your brand and what makes you you. Like for Michigan, foundationally, the idea that people know of Michigan typically is when they play Ohio State, when they beat Ohio State. Like you would probably find more people that remember the last time Michigan beat Ohio State over the last time Michigan won the national championship, and it happened in the same year. Like from a standpoint of like the common fan, the common person, like that rivalry still matters. You're the mouthpiece of the freaking team, and you're downplaying it. But because it doesn't matter, because he was not molded by it. He was not raised in the region. He was not bred to hate. Then you embellish it, man. Like it's one of those things where like guys before you didn't grow up like that. They didn't grow up Michigan fans. They didn't grow up in the area or anything like that. Isn't he actually a Michigan grad?
Is he a Michigan?
I think he has Michigan roots, for crying out loud. Like, what are we doing? It's a rivalry for a reason. And I swear, if I remember correctly, he has Michigan roots somewhere down the line. And if he does, then I'm super heated. Because you of all people should know what it means. Like, I don't understand the messaging here. And for what? Like, rally your fan base, rally your team. Like, Ohio State actually looks forward to the game, no matter what. Like, Michigan could be a one-win team, and they're still running it as if they're, like, the top dog.
I don't know what he played at BYU, and then he began his coaching career at BYU, and he has been in either Utah or Idaho ever since he began coaching in 1985.
So let me check.
But, like, my point is, fans care, and fans get the rivalry going, but at the end of the day, the teams, the players, the coaches, everything, at this point in it all, they're just hired mercenaries to win as many football games as humanly possible. In this case, for Michigan. I don't need my coach to go up there and pound it. Now, is it nice? 100%, but I don't need my coach to. And I understand it because at the end of the day, they're hired mercenaries. Like, you look back in the day with UVA and Virginia Tech. Such a great rivalry. One, because Virginia Tech was in the national conversation each and every year, but it would also be because UVA and Tech were made up of guys. They were made up of dudes who grew up playing each other, whether it was from the 804, the 757, other spots around Virginia, other spots around this region. These guys knew each other. They had played each other 100 times. They knew what each other ate for breakfast, and there was real hatred there. Now, it's transfers, it's guys from everywhere. It just doesn't have the same oomph. And, like, I don't think that's a bad thing because the sport is growing. Viewership is up. Ratings are up. College football has gone from that regional sport that bred hatred for your rival to a national sport that doesn't really do that as much. Rivalries are just something that matters more to fans at this point than anyone else because fans are the ones raised and bred to hate in good fun 99% of the time, right? And they don't transfer around. Fans bleed their school colors. So rivalries still exist between the fans, but from a coaching perspective, from a player's perspective, traditional rivalries are dead.
All right, so I was wrong. He doesn't have any ties to Michigan. I still hate the idea. I don't want my coach to come into a situation like that and lower the temperature on anything. I want you to be dumb like Purdue's AD and say Indiana is the place that you go to if you want to lose, even though they just won the national championship.
So
I'd rather you be that kind of an idiot than come in and try to lower the temperature on a branded rivalry that means something to this program and the program's like name. Like, I could never imagine, even with Florida State being as bad as they are right now, somebody at Florida or Miami coming in and being like, it doesn't really matter if we beat them or not. What? What? They still have battlegrounds for recruiting. Like, even more so when you're talking about NIL. So if Michigan's got a guy in the portal and Ohio State's looking at the same guy and the tiebreaker is who can make you better, and the last thing they saw was Ohio State beating them about 50, you think that's going to matter or not? And then your coaches out here talking about it's not really a big of a deal. Like, they're getting tooth without hating.
Doesn't that matter for the same in seeing Indiana beat Miami in the national championship?
Yeah, all that matters. So that's not a built-in rivalry. That's just like, honestly, Indiana's still fighting for respect.
But like, my argument is that, like, everything is so national now that Ohio State and Michigan aren't battling over the same kids in that area of the country. They're battling maybe over the same kids in Miami or somewhere down in Florida, where they're also battling against Florida, Miami, Florida State, also battling against Indiana, USC, Oregon. Like, everything is just so national now that it's taken out some of the hatred from a team perspective, and it is so much turnover and so much change each and every year. You don't have that same level of hatred that you've had in past years, back in the early 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, when it was such a regional sport. You recruited the same states, you had the same pipelines, you've played each other all growing up, you're going to play each other for 4 or 5 years, depending on if you redshirt, and you're going to have that baked-in hatred. We don't have that from a team perspective anymore. It still lives, as evidenced by you being so heated on this, right? It still lives.
And this is me as a college football fan, because I've been hearing this a lot about But this dilution, people diluting rivalries,
and you're diluting rivalries by not even playing them anymore. USC,
there are some people like
Texas,
that,
Texas A&M. There was a Texas Tech, Texas Tech in the Big 12. They don't play Texas. Yeah, that was a rival. And so we're losing some of these rivalries.
And so, that's why I tried to designate, Michigan, Ohio State, to me, is the same as, Red River. We can't not have that game played. It has to be played. It has to mean something. And honestly, the sad part about it is because of expansion, it doesn't have quite the same weight because it used to be and had to win that game to get into the playoffs.
And that's the other part of it too, where we're losing some of what makes college football great in that it was a small playoff field. It was really tough to get in. So Ohio State, Michigan, Texas, Oklahoma, it then even had more on it. And I think we just lost that from a team perspective. Fans still care. But traditional rivalries where every single person involved with it, fan, team, the athletic trainer wouldn't come out onto the field to help an injured player. I just don't think that exists anymore.
I don't want my coach at a blue blood school talking like this. I didn't like when DeBoer kind of downplays and stuff. I don't like this. I just think it's just bad optics. And honestly, if Kyle Whittingham, who has a 5-year deal, let him go 0-5 against Ohio State and watch Colorado.
You do see it from a fan perspective, right? They wanted to fire.
It's probably in his freaking contract.
They wanted to fire Ryan Day after he lost and he won a national championship. And they probably should have. But COVID kind of saved his job.
But he turned it around.
He got Bonnie Connor Stallions. You know how that one went. All right, let's get a quick break. It's 2-a-days, 8:04 high school football previews. We've got Cosby and Tucker coming up on the other side as we turn our attention to the high school football ranks.
Richmond's morning sports talk show. Don't go far.
Looking for the perfect golf course? Check out RVA's best kept secret, Greenfield Golf Club, just a few minutes past Mechanicsville. Reserve your tee time today at greenfieldgolf.com.
Tune in to the Henrico Huddle with Dennis Bickmeyer the last Wednesday of each month afternoons on 106.1 ESPN or updates online at henricosea.com.
Hey, making copies? Who are you? I'm future you. Constipation with belly pain back again? Yeah. Our doctor figured it out. Your symptoms keep coming back because it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. And Linzess can help you get ahead of it. Linzess Linacloprid is the #1 prescribed branded treatment for IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily prescription pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination and not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2 years old. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with cardiac stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Hi, this is Jake Sklar with the Mike Schnell Group at Hometown Realty. I'm excited to announce that the Mike Schnell Group is now offering an exclusive marketing program through Zillow Showcase. Would you like to sell your home faster and for more money? As a Zillow Showcase agent, I can give your home elevated marketing and promotion that helps you stand out against the competition. Zillow Showcase listings sell for an average of 2% more than the comparable nearby listings. Call me or your favorite Mike Schnell Group agent to list with Showcase and get 2% more than your neighbor. Reach me at 804-551-0410.
Worth breaking news back, and it's time to get ready for another Triple Crown season. Get the latest from the industry every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 with Off to the Races on 106.1 ESPN. Presented by The Racing Biz. Nick Hahn and Frank Vespi bring you their insight and knowledge, talking with the people making the headlines, including jockeys, trainers, and owners. Plus, the expert picks each week, including a visit by Kirby Bill Watson. It's Off to the Races each Saturday morning at 10 on 106.1 ESPN. Streaming live on the iHeartRadio app.
Your ambition? Get medicine action with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day. Every day. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control. All on one platform. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move.
Perfect.
Bring it to us and get a quote in minutes. And if you don't see what you need on the shelf, we'll help you get it. You can access thousands of products beyond what's available in store or on Lowe's.com, right from the Lowe's Pro Desk. Build quotes faster and source the materials you need to keep your jobs moving. Just like that. At Lowe's.
Local voices, local take.
Richmond's only local morning sports talk show.
Fitz the Bill, back on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. He goes on
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill here on this Tuesday morning. Appreciate you clocking in, getting your day started with us as we go through our 804 high school football previews. Today we turn our attention to the J.R. Tucker Tigers and the Cosby Titans. We caught up with Yahir Marino, Mark Davenport, and Coach Fitz for J.R. Tucker, who's coming off of a 1-9 season a year ago, but they've got to believe they can put together a season and rack up some more wins than they have the last few years. J.R. Tucker opens their season on the 28th at Caroline. And for Cosby, we caught up with Robbie Sheesh, Gabriel Whaley, and Coach Wild at 804 High School Football Media Day as they finished 4-6, but they did finish last year with some momentum. They lost back-to-back games to LSU Bird and to Midlow. Then Cosby finished the year out scoring 50-plus in the final 2 games of the season, winning both games to get to that 4-6 mark. The Titans open up their season on September 3rd at James River Midlothian. This is our conversation with J.R. Tucker and Cosby from 804 High School Football Media Days.
804 High School Football Media Day continuing here. ESPN Richmond Fitz the Bill. It's J.R. Tucker. Time to talk a little J.R. Tucker High School Football. Coach Fitz joining us. Coach, how you doing on this 804 High School Football Media Day?
I'm doing great. This is a really great event you guys are putting on.
I've asked a couple of coaches this, where does it kind of make it feel like the season is almost here now?
It does. It definitely starts to get you thinking about all those types of things and getting ready for it's real now. It's real now.
Is your first game, are you an August 28th team?
Yes, sir.
So we're 24 days out from game 1.
We are.
What are you guys focusing in on between now and kickoff of week 1?
We're focusing on our consistency. We're focusing on those little details that we need to do in order to be better than we were last year. So, making sure we got 2 new systems going in. So making sure that we have those things down pat as we go into the season.
What are some of the expectations that you guys have for yourself heading into 2026?
I think, like I said, I feel like we want to be more consistent. We want to be more disciplined, fundamentally sound. And as a just, on the outside, we want to win more games than we did last year. That's kind of where everyone wants to do. So, that's one of our goals, win more than we did last year.
And talk a little bit about the 2 guys you brought here to 804 High School Football Media Day. How impactful they are for the J.R. Tucker squad?
These guys are very impactful. They've been very impactful since day one. They're both seniors for us. They both been in the program for 4 years. And that says a lot because, again, our program, with the success that we haven't had, we still have our largest senior class that we've had since I've been here. So these guys have been able to still come through here and stick with it and overcome the adversity they have. So these guys do this every single day. Yahir broke a tackle record for us last year. Is a really, really big force for us on defense. Flies around the guys, really right around him. Mark is the same way. He's a leader. Does everything we ask him to do. Plays every spot that we can, he's asked to do. And just they're both great additions. I don't think we could do it without them.
Yahir Moreno, outside linebacker for J.R. Tucker.
And to bring up my teammates and everyone around me to just fly around the ball and do the same thing I was doing last year for everyone to get better. And I think that we could have multiple more all-regional selections coming out of Tucker if we all just stay on the same consistency like Coach Fitz was saying and just show up every day for each other like we do. And I just look forward to our team just being better every day.
I love it. Mark, playing in the program for 4 years, going on into your 4th year now, how have you seen your game develop over those years?
Personally or as a team?
Both.
I think, coming in, I never lifted weights before, so I think Coach Fitz did a great job with off-season training and getting us in the weight room. I've definitely gotten much better at lifting weights since I came in, And then as a team, like we can, a lot of us, different middle schools, like we feed from 8 middle schools.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think this year, like the end of last year, started this year, I'm really starting to build like a personal connection with these guys. And they're finally starting to look like a real team. So
Awesome. I love it. Good luck this upcoming season, guys. Really appreciate your time, and good luck.
Thank you.
Here at 804 High School Football Media Days, rolling right along. ESPN Richmond Fitz the Bill. We've got Robbie, she's wide receiver for Cosby. Gabriel Whaley, safety, and Coach Wild for Cosby. How you guys doing? How's 804 High School Football Media Day treating you? Gabriel, if you want to start.
It's been great, getting to, let people know kind of how we're doing, how we're feeling, ready for the season. Kind of tell, some people here that, we play in the season, so it's nice to kind of let them know how we're feeling and how we're doing as a program, let the community know, kind of what we're looking forward to and the things that we're trying to accomplish this year.
Awesome. Robbie, how are you guys feeling? How's the off-season been treating you?
Really good. And this experience so far has been amazing with 804 Media. And I feel like just letting people know about the off-season and seeing how people feel going into the actual season is a really fun experience.
What should people be expecting out of Cosby offensively, since you're the wide receiver on that team?
A lot more scoring than last year. That is the main goal. A lot more scoring.
As a wide receiver, that's got to feel a little fun, right?
Yes, definitely. Especially with the new quarterback, Jonathan West, we have. He's a freshman going into his sophomore season, and he's shown a lot of promise.
Gabriel, he says a lot of scoring, so that must mean fun practices. As a safety for the team, you've got to try and stop that scoring. How's that been? Has it kind of been iron sharpening iron this offseason?
Oh, yeah, we do competition every day, whether it's just sevens, whether it's half-field concepts or full, team 11. We're always, talking to one another, riling each other up, It's just rivalry in our own, team. It's how you build connection, it's how you get stronger, it's how you just get better as a team. It's always competing every day, whether you're trying to earn a spot or trying to keep a spot. It's, offense, defense. Everyone's always just trying to compete every day. I think will propel us forward to be able to do that on Friday nights as well.
And what should we expect out of the defense down there at Cosby?
So our defense has a lot of returners coming in this next season, so it's going to be nice to see, how we can grow even from last season and to how we can become even better. That next step, that 1% each day that we're trying to figure out. How can we reflect what we've always been preaching for these last 3 years that we've had our DC. A lot of guys that started their sophomore year on varsity are now seniors this year. So it's excited to see how we can all rally up and bring everyone up to speed and be able to just continue from last season and propel forward.
Awesome. Coach, for yourself from a coaching perspective, we're now less than a month out from week 1, if my math is correct.
Correct.
How are you feeling that close to week 1?
I'm feeling great. What we're looking forward today is we got our first day of shoulder pads coming out. So it's good. The real evaluation is just starting, especially for your big guys up front and some your skill players, especially your running backs. It's always nice to see how they move, but you got to see if they can handle it between the tackles. So we're taking it day by day, stacking days. Offensively, we're going to be young, but we have a really hungry group. And they're doing some great things behind Jonathan West, who's our sophomore quarterback. Like they said, he's got a lot of promise, but we have some great receivers that he was with, that we kept them all on the JV together so they could grow for the year last year. And you're seeing that continuity come on up to the varsity level. And, it's going to be real exciting to see these guys perform Friday nights.
How important is that continuity for a team, having those guys be able to play together and kind of build that chemistry?
I think it's very important. That's why what we've done philosophy-wise is try to keep guys down and keep them together so they have the opportunity to learn to grow, learn to win at the younger level before coming on up. And I think now we're starting to see the fruits of that. It's always hard to keep someone that's supremely talented or your more talented guys that could possibly be playing up early. So it's hard to keep them down, but when you're seeing what they can do now because of that is great.
When you are getting ready for this season, what are the expectations? What are the things you want to see from your team in that week 1 game?
Yeah, I want to see that effort. I want to see you compete. We've got to compete play after play. Forget about the last play, then it's over, right? Be able to move on. No matter if we score, they score, fumble, interception, whatever it happens to be, you got to forget that play and move on. I'm just expecting them to go out and compete.
Awesome, guys. Really appreciate your time. Good luck this upcoming season. Enjoy the rest of 804 High School Football Media Day.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Triple Crown season.
Get the latest from the industry every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 with Off to the Races on 106.1 ESPN.
Presented by the Racing Biz.
Nick Hahn and Frank Vespi bring you their insight and knowledge.
Talking with the people making the headlines, including jockeys, trainers, and owners. Plus, get the extra Saturday morning at 10 on 106.1 ESPN. Streaming live on the iHeartRadio app.
Call Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling at 804-746-5853 today to learn more about their award-winning Lennox product offerings.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist. I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. Happy 50th.
Alex Stone had a hypnosis. Stop smoking. No craving, irritability, or weight gain. Walk in a smoker, walk out free. Only $59.99 or your money back. In town August 17th. Sign up at alexgoen.com. GOEN. That's alexgoen.com.
Your ambition just met its match with Robin Hood. You play for the win, not just on game day. Every day. Channel that drive into your money. Robin Hood puts you in control. All on one platform. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your roles perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter. Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Laundry your life, laundry your life. What's switching for? Laundry your life. Wash for Saturday. What's switching for? Laundry your life.
Whip Stitch and Fold is a wash and fold laundry service with both pickup and delivery. Located at 108 East 9 Mile Road. 804-367-7979. WhipStitchandFold.com. We are your laundry partner for life.
Switching for laundry your life.
Mornings in Richmond start here. Fitz the Bill. Back now on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
Oh, another free one. Thanks, dog. You always hook me up. Another hour of the fun stuff on deck.
Another one of your nonsensical rambling stories.
And another round for everyone on me. I don't want to hear another peep. Okay, all right, here's another one.
Before we get up on out of here on this Tuesday morning, we got a text in earlier on in the hour 2. Would y'all entertain or have already had an eliminator for the show prize or not? I think it'd be fun. Have you ever done the Circa Millions? I've always thought about doing the Circa Millions, but it requires a lot to get out there and do it. Maybe this is just how I scratch that itch and do the Circa Millions / Fitz the Bill, no prize eliminator pool, where if you're not hip, the eliminator just has you pick one team each and every week in the NFL, straight up, no spread, nothing like that. You're just picking who wins. You can only pick a team once per season, and you continue for as long as you don't pick a loser. So it could be fun. That could be something we could coordinate somehow.
Yes, I've done Circa and I've done the Super Contest.
How far did you get in Circa?
I got to like week 13.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. Yeah, but it obviously doesn't win it.
No, it does not.
It doesn't get close. Even in the super contest, I finished like in the top like 150, but like it's not even close. The best super contest I've ever done was on mybookie.ag.
Oh,
I was number 7, and I was like 63.5% that year.
That's pretty
I
good.
think that's the best I've ever done. It's funny. Like I've seen some years where my bookie people win with under 60%, and I've seen other years where you got to be like almost 80%.
Yeah, it's crazy how like different every season is when it comes to like the spreads, how good Vegas sets the line, and everything like that. If I could find a platform that could set it up easily, where I don't have to do a lot of the manual labor and kind of the how to who pick what and how it all breaks down. If I could find a platform that could host an Olympic, I would definitely do it. Maybe we could include a couple of prizes from some of our sponsors, things like that, to put together a fun little prize pack. But I would do that. If you know, Texter, any platform that can kind of host that, similar to like how Sleeper has fantasy leagues or ESPN has the fantasy app and things like that, if there's a way for something to be hosted for an eliminator, I think that could be fun. I think I would win it all. I think I'd go perfect. I think I'd go each and every week. I'd get the winner, and everything would go swimmingly for me.
No, I mean
it's tough.
It's a strategy to it.
If you could lose what's your strategy for it? Mine would be pick what I know early and don't worry about teams and then at the end of the year. But then that kind of paints you into a corner at the end of the year.
My strategy is to look at the schedule and take it week by week and try to avoid division games if possible.
Okay.
Because division games are the most unpredictable games. And so, and you pick on the bad teams, right? Like you know the Titans are going to be bad. You know the Cardinals are going to be bad. So you systematically pick. Like I could pick the home games of the Rams, Niners, and Seahawks versus the Cardinals, and I'm probably set, depending on which part of the season it is, because I know they're going to be bad. You want to stay away from trap games where like people will see like the Browns, and the Browns have great history against the Steelers, and they want to jump on that, think, the Steelers are going to beat the Browns, and then that's when you end up saying that the game is rigged because you picked the Browns, who are like 6-1 at home against the Steelers in their last 7 matches. You didn't look that up, so
you got to know some of the little.
You got to know the trends, but you bounce around and you target the bad teams early, and then go for the healthy teams making them run late. So, like, you know the Commanders got an easy schedule at the end of the year. You want to save your Commanders pick. You know certain teams got easy schedules at the end of the year. You want to save those picks and try to get in early. So, with the other one. So, yeah, it's a strategy to it. I've never gotten, like I said, past week 13. So
Clifford Allen just said, and if we have an eliminator thing that we do this upcoming season, you've all that advice to your advantage. He's giving all the secrets.
I'll give you potential picks for it.
But maybe I'll investigate that, see if there's anything we can do. I think it's a fantastic idea, Texter. Coming up tomorrow, we continue with our 804 high school football previews. Our two-a-days roll right along. We're trying to connect with a couple of MRN guests for tomorrow and Thursday show. Friday show should be an absolute blast as we can shoot set for the Saturday Richmond race. We've got a special guest joining us on Friday as well. You probably, maybe you can guess it, maybe not, but that'll be a fun Friday show. Tomorrow, we'll also be talking about some breakout star candidates for this upcoming NFL season. No mid-major match, though. He's back Thursday, so we'll talk to you tomorrow. Lake Lewis Jr. show coming up at 3.
Richmond Spiders Athletics all year